أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي نور قلوب العارفين بنور معرفته وأثبت فؤاد أنبيائه وأوليائه بقصص الأنبياء والمرسلين وأكمل إيمان المسلمين والمؤمنين بولاية علي أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على أفضل الموجودات العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد المحمود الأحمد أعني أبا القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى روحه ونفسه وصهره ووسيه سيد الأتقياء والأسفياء مولى الموالي إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب وعلى أوصيائه لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفدا واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الله الحكيم في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لو كان فيهما آلهة إلا الله لفسدتا صدق الله العلي العظيم. We will be talking about the beliefs, the Islamic beliefs from the perspective of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, which the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam or the Shias of Imam Ali alayhi salam believe in. And the first one is Tawheed, the oneness of God, or the divine unity. The divine unity, when we say, is Tawheed. Tawheed is from Wahid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. There is only one God. And then there are many proofs that the Muslim scholars have devised over proving the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or God. And I'll briefly mention some of those proofs, as most of those deep studies are in high levels of Hawza. In the beginning you study basics, and then you study high level, and then you have so many books in theology, in philosophy, in mysticism, that are devised to prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or God. When we say there is one God, that is the basic teaching or understanding of the Quran or Islam, that we believe in one God. And all monotheistic faiths, in fact, all the believers in any faith believe in one God. Even Christians, when they believe in Trinity, they do believe in one God. But then they believe in Trinity. But even then, that's not a denial of one God. Or the Jews, they believe in one God. So the Muslims also adhere to the faith in one God. And when we say there is no God but Allah, what we are saying, La ilaha illallah, ilah is the deity or ma'bud, something that you worship. And anything that is worshipped is regarded as ilah. So even the fire, the sun, anything which is worshipped, the moon, the stars, anything which is worshipped is regarded as ilah. The cow, the snake, or anything. So we believe that there is no God but Allah. La ilaha illallah. So when we believe in one God, so there are many different proofs which are known to be in Arabic burhan. The plural is barahin. Burhan is a proof, and barahin is a plural of burhan. So the proofs on the existence of God. Now, there are a number of burhans that I'll name. I'll not go through all of them. I'll just probably briefly explain one or two burhans or proofs. The very common and the easiest one is Burhan-e-Nazm. Burhan-e-Nazm. So everything is so well organized in this universe, everything is so systematic, everything runs so smoothly, nothing crashes. And I've chosen the ayat from the Holy Quran, لَوْ كَانَ فِيهِمَا آلِهَةٌ, if there was another God other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala between them, between the heavens and the earth, لَفَسَدَتَا, then everything would crash, everything will be destroyed. This nazm, the whole universe being so systematic and so organized, is a proof that it is from one. If there were many gods, then there will be crash. So the whole system is a proof that there's only one God. So the Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Imam sallallahu alaihi wasallam have given many proofs on the organizational structure of this world. So there are billions and billions of stars, and they're all on a move in this whole galaxy. So there are all of these planets, and they have their own moons, some of them, and the moons are rotating around the earth, and the planets, well, there is only one moon for the earth, but there are other moons for the other planets, and the whole of the whole solar system. Our solar system has, now they've proven there are more than 9 planets, but anyway, 9 planets, let's say. There are more now. So all of them are now on the move. And the sun is not stationary, even the sun is on the move. So this whole system is going around the sun, and the sun is on move in the galaxy. And the galaxy, there are billions and billions of galaxies in a Milky Way, and then there are so many Milky Ways, and everything is on a move, and this whole universe working together in such an organizational structure. This is a sign that it is from one, and that is God. This is the simplest burhan or proof. Others are much more complicated, but I'll go through one or two more. So this is the Burhan-e-Nazm. Everything so well organized in this whole universe. Anyone on earth, if there are any corruptions or any, it is a doing of mankind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ظَهَرَ الْفَسَادُ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ. All the corruption that you see on earth, on the surface of the earth and in the oceans, is a doing of mankind. It's only man which is so corrupt. All other things have an innate nature, and they do not step out of their nature. And so the whole of this world runs on a natural cycle, and even human beings sometimes step out of their nature, and they do, for example, our nature says obedience. So for example, our nature, it's in our nature to be caring or have love and respect, but sometimes we step out, we steal, we murder, we kill. So it's in our nature, good and evil. Inshallah, we'll talk about it later, but this is not the topic at the moment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this power to understand. And Imam alayhi salam says in Nahj al-Balagha to his son, Hazrat Muhammad Hanafiya, in the will, he says, "O my beloved son, if there was another God other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَأَتَتْكَ رُسُلَهُ, then his messengers would have also come to you." So if there were other gods, then they, just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending his messengers, have you noticed that all of these messengers from Adam to Muhammad came one after the other? And no one said there are 2 gods or 3 gods or 5 gods or 4 gods or whatever. They all said La ilaha illallah. The Jews, Christians and all monotheistic, even Zoroastrians and other faiths who believe in prophethood, they believe that all the prophets said there is only one God. They all said that there is only one God. And amongst the proofs on uh, uh, existence of a God or the God is the coming of all of these messengers. And they all said La ilaha illallah. People burned them. People did not accuse them of corruption, that they were corrupt. People said, well, they were lying. That there was no God, and they kept telling us there was God. So that's why the people killed them. But anyway, people have sometimes corrupted their messages and have lost the teachings. And sometimes many scholars believe that even Hindus or Buddhists, they have changed the teachings of those messengers and believe them to be God, just like many Jews, Christians have changed the teachings, but even Muslims have changed the teachings. So therefore, they have lost the essence of the teachings of those messengers and started believing in them to be gods. So they were messengers from God, and the people started saying, okay, they were gods. So they were leading them to one. And even Hindus, sometimes when you speak to them, they believe that no, Ishwar is one. So sometimes they say Upar wala to ek hai. The God above us there is only one. But then you can see that one God into anything. So these are not gods, the cow or the elephant or the monkey, Hanuman or Ganpati. I don't even know the names of all, So they believe that these are all manifestations of God. They're not gods. You see the God in them. You see the God in a cow. You see the God in a snake or something like that. So they are not real gods. They're only manifestations of God. And so we believe that God does not have a manifestation. His Dhat has no manifestation. Only his attributes may have, like his ilm, his knowledge. So people may represent his knowledge, his power, anyway. So nevertheless, so there are all of these prophets, one after the other, who came and said there's only one God. Even if a child came to you from outside and said, let's say, I don't know, there is fire, you will not probably pay attention. And then if a second child came and said there is fire, you will say probably, they're only children. It may be a small fire, it may not be anything. If a third child came and said there is fire outside, a fourth, fifth, there'll come a time after 4, 5 children, you'll say, let's go and see. After 10, let's go and see, something's going on. Even though they're children, you will still pay attention. But if all of these hundreds of prophets, 124,000 altogether messengers, but out of them, like Anbiya, but out of them 313 messengers who actually delivered, or who were ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to go and deliver to the other people. The others were receiving the revelation, but they did not have to go and preach. So all of these messengers came, and hundreds of them, and they all kept saying one thing: La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah. People killed them, stoned them to death, burned them alive, and crucified, whatever you want to say. People tortured them, and they did not go back from their word. They died saying there is no God but Allah. From Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, David, Solomon, they all said there is only one God. And the likes of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam came, and Imam Hassan, and Imam Hussein, Imam Zain al-Abidin, Imam Sajjad, Imam Baqir. So they all kept, people tortured them, poisoned them to death, and they kept saying, La ilaha illallah. So there is only one God. We'll talk about other beliefs later, but they all said there is only one God. The third proof we sometimes use is the fact that Burhan Fitrat, as it is called, the proof of nature. These days in America, there is a research that says there is a God gene in every person. There is a gene that takes you to a God. You want to believe in a God. This is what they call it. Now, does it prove the God or just a God? It takes you to a God, and then you have to find out if it is the true God, or you just believe in a God then. Now, there are many scholars who believe that you can actually get to the God, the likes of Allah Mahalli, Rahmatullah alayhi, and Hassan ibn Yusuf ibn Mutahar al-Hilli, very big scholar. Allah Mahalli, he is buried in Najaf, in the Haram of Imam Ali Islam. So he believed that you can get to the God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, they say that it's in our nature, you want to know if there is an unseen world, if there is another world, if there are unseen beings out there. Then you want to know, can we really form a connection with them? If we can, how? Through a medium, through who? Through messengers? Or so all of these curiosities in us from early childhood. So from childhood, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِخَلْقِ اللَّهِ ذَلِكَ الدِّينُ الْقَيِّمُ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Stand firm facing the right religion. فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا, the nature of Allah upon which He has created all creation. فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا, all the people. He's created all the people on the nature. لا تبديل لخلق الله. You will not find any change in Allah's creation. ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. But majority of the people do not know. So people deny because of the social pressures, through different practices, through culture. You leave your nature, but you're born with this whole belief from early age. You until and unless someone misguides you, you have this whole concept of belief in one God. And there is this whole concept amongst ulama that, do we need strong bridges to believe in God? So you could have moving bridges, that example I've given before, that you could have a very, wooden bridge hanging onto ropes, simple bridge that takes you to God. So you don't need metal bridges made of concrete. But why do we make them? Because when the man just needed to cross a bridge by itself, cross a river, so just made simple bridge hanging on ropes, wooden, and you will just cross and get to your destination. But then they started having animals to cross over, then cars and tanks and whatever, buses to cross the rivers. Then they needed stronger bridges. Therefore, you don't need very strong proofs on the existence of God. But because there are so many people writing against God and creating doubts against God, and then there are so many temptations, and through programs, and that you don't believe in God, and there are anti-God things, that you actually now need to write bigger books and go into proofs on the existence of God deeper. So this whole concept of nature, so in our nature we have the concept of a God, not the God. So, but sometimes, even if a person was born in a jungle, if they thought, some scholars believe, that if they started thinking, you would negate everything and get to God. For example, you looked in this whole universe. Can this whole world come into being by itself through a big bang, or I don't know? Even if they were saying, can it, just happen by itself? People have gone so deep into this on both ends, writing so many books, one saying yes, the other saying no. So many scientists are muwahid, even Newton and even Einstein, so they believed in God. And so many have said, can this whole universe come into being by itself? No. So there must be a creator. Can the creator die or not have eternal life? No. The creator must be eternal, otherwise this whole universe will not exist forever. So he must be al-hayy, ever living, eternal. Can this creator be powerless? Can he lose power? No, this whole universe needs a powerful God for it to remain and to exist. So the creator must be omnipotent or all powerful, qadir. So hayy, qadir. What else? So Can this universe have been created by a creator who doesn't have much knowledge? No, he must have all the knowledge. So he must be Alim, omniscient, all knowing. Alim, his knowledge, Alim or Alim, his knowledge doesn't decline. He's all knowing. So, like that, you would slowly prove all the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the major attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and believe in one God. And those major attributes, some have said 8, but for example, Qadim, eternal, Qadir, omnipotent, Alim, omniscient, Mudrik, the one who perceives everything, um, Sami, who hears everything, Basir, who sees everything, Sadiq, so the positive attributes. But the scholars, many philosophers say that all you need to study is only 3 attributes. And the 3 most important attributes are Hayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the life, He's eternal. He never, He has no beginning and no end. So He is Qadim, meaning He has no beginning. He's Azali and Abadi. He's eternal. Or Sarmadi. He's eternal. So He has no beginning and no end. So He is ever living. Al-Hayy. Second is omniscient. He is all knowing. Alim. Alim. And then Qadir. He is omnipotent. He is omnipotent or all powerful. So these 3 attributes, all other attributes will return to these 3. So these 3 attributes are very important, that the scholars say. I'm not going too deep into any of these, but these 3 attributes, and even each one of these the scholars will go into theology, the theologians will go so deep into them, and then philosophers, and they give so many proofs, and these are not just studied in one lecture. Each one of these will be studied in lectures, many lectures. So Qadir, Allah is all powerful. All powerful means He's not compelled to do something. Compulsion is a sign of majboor. He is not majboor. Therefore He is all powerful. Majboor, for example, compulsion. You cannot imagine fire without heat. Whenever there is fire, there will be heat. So there is compulsion between fire and heat. Whenever there is fire, there will be heat. That's not how Allah is. He didn't have to create us. It's not that it happened. Big Bang, things happened and He had no control over it. No, He decided. It was His irada. It was the divine intent that He decided that He wants to create, and He created this whole universe. It wasn't any compulsion. So He is Fa'il Mukhtar. He's a doer with free will. So He decided and He did. And He created, so He does everything of free will. So therefore He's Qadir. He's all powerful. Anyway, I can't go too deep into these, otherwise I'll be confusing you. These are all to be studied very much in depth. They are hours and hours of studies. So, and when we say that He knows everything, it's not that, He knew that Yazid is going to kill Imam Hussain Islam, so He compelled Yazid to kill. No, there is no compulsion. Him knowing something is not His imposing something. So when he says that He informed His messenger, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, that Yazid is going to kill Imam Hussain, for example, if a teacher says that this child is going to fail in the class, not because I'm going to make him fail and I'm going to not let him pass, but because I can tell he doesn't do any homework, it's only just an example for you to understand. Otherwise, you cannot imply any of these examples onto God. So, so God knew through His knowledge, His everlasting knowledge, through His infinity knowledge, what is going to happen. So He knows what's going to happen, but He doesn't compel people to do those things. He did not compel. So there's no compulsion from God for us to do something. For Him knowing something is one thing, and His compelling us to do things is another. If there was compulsion, then there is no free will. No, but there is free will. We do have a free will, but we don't have a complete free will. I don't want to go into that now. So study these. Predestination or complete free will. Is everything predestined? Are we compelled to do everything? Is it everything free predestined? Or do we have a complete free will? No. We don't have complete free will and we don't have complete compulsion. It is in between the two. I didn't choose where to be born, what skin color, what race, what gender, my abilities, my potential. These are all um, gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or He chose for me. But then I choose what to do, what to believe slowly, and um, what to study, my profession, who I marry, all of those um, are my choices, but certain things I do not choose. So, anyway, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all powerful. And I've given only very basic proofs and very simple proofs. I'll give one complicated proof. I'll try and simplify it. But there are many, many proofs on the existence of, like I said, on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is this nature that we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through which, and then there is this other proof that we call imkano wujub, the proof of possible and necessary beings. This is in philosophy. So we believe that there are two types of beings: the necessary being and possible being. The necessary being is independent being that needs nothing to come, to be. It doesn't come into being. It is always there. It is independent. It needs nothing to come into being, or to be, and it needs nothing to remain, to be. To be honest, yes, to be, to exist, it needs nothing. It is all independent. And then there are possible beings that are dependent beings. Possible beings are dependent. They need other beings to remain, to come into being, to remain into being, and their existence or non-existence makes no difference to this universe. So this universe may remain or may not. Anyway, so those are possible beings. Now, and they are dependent. Now, there are different levels of those possible beings. But anyway, I don't want to go too much into that. I'm trying to oversimplify it. Anyway, now, there are only three possibilities. Either everything is a necessary being. Logically, there are only three possibilities, three scenarios. Either everything is necessary being, or everything is possible being, or some are possible and some are necessary. Now, everything is a necessary being is absurd, because we see all of these things which are possible beings. They did not exist in a time. They will not exist. I was not there before 1976. I will not be there after some time. And all of these things existed and did not exist, and they will all come to an end. So we see everything that we see around us are all possible beings. Therefore, everything is a necessary being is absurd, because there are so many possible beings around us. Now, the other thing is, everything is a possible being. Even that is wrong. But to prove that everything is a possible being, we need a little bit more thinking. And then the third scenario will be proven. Now, the other, so if we say everything is possible being, because everything we're seeing is a possible being. But if we say everything is a possible being, then what we're saying is we're creating a vicious circle. We're saying vicious circle, tasalsul or door, which are void. Because if we say everything is dependent on each other, then nothing exists. But there are so many things that exist. So there must be something out of this circle, out of the box, that has started all of this. And that is the necessary being. So let me prove it. If there are 5 people in a room and all of them say, I will not leave until someone else leaves, then no one will ever leave. 5 people. A says, I will not leave until someone else leaves. B says, I will not leave until someone else leaves. C says, I will not leave until someone else. D and E likewise. We will not leave until someone else leaves. No one will ever leave because someone has to start. Someone has to. So if everything is dependent on each other, we're saying A is dependent on B, B is on C, C is on D, D is on E, and then he is dependent on A, then everything is just dependent on each other. Then nothing exists. How did this come into being? Because of A. Then C. You will keep going back to billions of things until you say, okay, who? So we believe that everything being a possible being is not possible, because then everything is dependent. And if everything is dependent, then nothing exists, because they're all dependent on each other. So there has to be something independent out of that circle that started everything off. And that is necessary being. So therefore, we believe now that yes, most of the things or everything that we see are possible being, but there is at least a necessary being that started everything off. And we believe that that necessary being has to have some qualities. It has to be eternal to be a necessary being. Eternal means al-hayy. It has to have knowledge of everything to create or start everything off. And that is alim. He is omniscient. It has to be all-powerful, omnipotent, to create everything. Such a complicated word. So therefore it is qadir, and those attributes go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He is hayy, eternal, alim, omniscient, qadir, omnipotent. And those qualities apply to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The necessary being is God, not matter, because some people may say, okay, that necessary being, yes, we accept, is matter. Matter does not have hikmah, wisdom, or so someone who created all of those has to have wisdom, and that is God. So anyway, I tried to simplify it as much as I could. You need to study deeply. These are months and months of studies that you need to probably, this is only a beginning. So you can now, inshallah, go deeper into these in your own time. And inshallah, tomorrow we will talk about the divine justice. We only talked about Tawheed, or the divine unity or oneness of God, whatever you want to call it. I tried to oversimplify it as much as I could, because I know there are many children listening. So please listen to these and then go deeper into them. And then I had a series of lectures, but you need at least 10, 12 lectures just on Tawheed to get a grasp of all the reasoning. And if you want to go deeper, then study Man and Universe by Shaykh Musa Mutahari. There are many other scholars. Theological Instructions by Muhammad Taqi Misbahi Yazdi, or Allah by Yasin T. Al-Jaburi, and many good writers on Tawheed. Thank you very much. And Sayyid Mushtaba Musavilari's 4-volume series, very simple, very simple. This is the simplest one out there. So first one is on Tawheed and Adl, second one Nabuwwat, third one Imamat, fourth one on Qayamat, or the Day of Return. They are in English. Sayyid Mujtaba Musavi Lari. So his 4-volume set is very good. And you can find many of these free on alislam.org, al-islam.org. It's a very good site. Inshallah, you can study all of these in more depth. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, O Allah, hasten in the reappearance of the Prophet Imam. O Allah, if we haven't been forgiven, then forgive us in these last 10 days of the month of Ramadan. O Allah, forgive us our sins, the major and minor sins. O Allah, protect all the humanity and all the Muslims and believers, mu'mineen, from this coronavirus. O Allah, accept the deeds of our brothers and sisters who've organized these lectures, from Husseiniya, Islamic Society of Seattle. O Allah, give us health with prosperity, wealth, sustenance, and iman, and a long life with all of these things. O Allah, bless us with the acceptance of our deeds, and bless us to visit Kaaba, Makkah, Medina, and all of the holy sites in Najaf, Karbala, Mashhad. O Allah, accept our deeds and forgive, and give us intercession. Forgive us our sins and our deceased people. Forgive their sins, and give all of us intercession of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad in the hereafter. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.